from Lake Betz in Morrisville, North Carolina. We're going to get the shot with the Canon R50 and the Canon 200-800 lens. Let's go. What's up, everybody? Phil with Photo Gear Fun here today at Lake Betz. I've got the EOS R50 and the Canon 200-800 lens. You can see the combo here. Really tiny APS-C Canon camera. This huge lens. We're going to take it out for some bird photography, see what we can do. Again, back at one of my favorite spots, Lake Betz, here in Morrisville, North Carolina. I got a little bit of a late start this morning, but we're still going to see what we can find. There's always something here at Lake Betz, so I'm going to head over to one of my favorite spots. I'm going to see what we can find with this combo. Yes, it looks absurd, but maybe it's pretty good. Let's find out. I've tried it with a couple of other setups, 100-400 and the 10-18 for vlogging. We'll see how it does with this 200-800 on it. All right, I'm going to talk you through my settings here. I've got the R50 set up, excuse me, with digital stabilization set to on. There's no IBIS here. Got the shutter speed at 1/800th. We're at f9 for most of these shots. This is an f9 lens at 800mm. And I've got the eye detection on and it's set to animal. So there's a little green heron out there. Let's see if we can't get some shots of him. So it's catching the eye. Training himself. The buffer fills up pretty quickly. Do a quick check. Focus looks good. Active track just lost me. Focus looks good. So we're going to continue on. Took some shots of a turtle. Got this green heron. Bunch of swallows here. I'm going to head to one of my favorite spots and check it out. Normally we see all kinds of birds over there. It's pretty quiet and pretty warm morning. I'm sweating already, so let's continue on and see what else Lake Betz, easy for me to say, has for us today. All right, the video is coming from the Osmo Pocket 3. Got active track on. We're at my favorite spot here. You can see behind me. Usually get some pretty good shots over here. I'm just going to hang out here for a little bit. It's starting to grow up. A lot of these weeds now are growing. It's much easier in the spring and fall. These spots are a little bit more wide open, but we're going to hang out here and see what happens. I'm normally here between 7:30 and 8. I didn't start until 9 o'clock this morning, so things tend to slow down a little bit this time of the morning, but let's see what else we can find. I'm sure there's always something here at Lake Betz, so let's see what we can find, and we'll cut back in here in a few minutes. Well, it's been green heron day so far here today. Let's see how this active track will follow. It's a songbird. I'm not sure what it is. I'll have to wait and get back home. But the autofocus seems to be struggling at times, like it did with the other lens, the 100-400. I'll show you some of those shots. We're going to go back into the studio. I'll show you what we've done in the studio. It might be 2 days of shooting. I'm going to film the video today, wrap it up. But when we go back into the studio, it might be 2 days. Depends on how many more shots I can find today. It's starting to get a little late in the morning for bird activity, but I'm going to stay here for a little bit longer and see what we can find. And then we'll head out of Betz, back to the studio, and I'll show you what this does. This EOS R5 with the RF 200-800 lens. So we'll check in a minute. Okay, here we are in the studio. Start off with the first thing that I saw here. It's this little turtle. You can see this is at ISO 1000. The dimensions are here, so it's a 24 megapixel, and it looks pretty good. I'll even go into 300% zoom for some of these. And that's actually where I look for critical sharpness, is at 300. If it's not 100% sharp at 300, I almost always will not post it. But that's a nice little photo of a turtle. Another one here, focus seems good. This is a green heron. And I'll show you some of these shots. It did struggle with focus at times. And then I think probably it's suffering from shake. So I'm at 1/800th a second here. And the reciprocal rule, this is around 1280mm, I think, with the crop. So I should have been higher in the shutter speed. I should have been probably 1250 to eliminate shutter shake, I should say. So it's very possible that a lot of these shots that I say are out of focus aren't out of focus. It's just shake. and I don't have the steadiest of hands because it does seem to grab the eye, and whenever it grabs the eye, it seems to be pretty close to in focus. So this one looks better as far as focus goes. And this was shot at 500. So we're at f9, and that's the maximum aperture at 800 millimeters for this particular 200-800 lens. You can see here that, again, this could just be motion, just shake, because my shutter speed wasn't high enough. I didn't want to go too high in the shutter speed. This is ISO 500, not terrible on the ISO, but not great. Try to get to 100 if I can. Just another shot of that heron, and that's 300%. So if we go into 100%, you can see that the focus is pretty good. Got a dragonfly over here. So this, a lot of these photos from today are these green herons. But there are some other photos, I promise. I just wanted to kind of go through these, and again, seems to be catching the eye. These are from fairly far away. I'll show you some more where I get a little closer to the green heron, but here's another turtle shot. There are lots and lots and lots of turtles at Lake Betz. So you can see this is pretty much filling the entire frame. And you can see other than some highlights here, but looks pretty good. And these are all unedited, by the way. Nothing has been done to these, so these are straight out of the camera. And then I did get closer to the heron. So you can see here at 100%, focus looks good, color clarity. Just hit this with a quick auto. And then I'll show you very quickly how I edit. I usually do square crops and crop it until where it looks good, and then just make sure that I'm at least over 2000, and this is square, so 2000 by 2000. Give that a crop, and then from there you can do the subject detection. It works pretty well, I've found. So you can see sometimes it grabs the bird and it thinks that this bush over here is part of that, and I can just basically take that away. This is just quick and dirty, but I'll normally just isolate the subject here. I'll do a better job on the masking, and then I will, kind of bring it to where I think it looks good. So that looks pretty good to me, and I, change the contrast and do some other things. But basically, that's pretty close to what the finished image would look like. And from that 24 megapixels, we're getting about 4 megapixels in this shot. So more megapixels can be better, and generally is better. But that's not to say that you still can't get really good shots. So there's a green heron again, and then I got a little bit closer to the heron, so that I think this is a pretty good shot. I got a series of shots that I would probably post these online. Just do a quick edit here. Something along those lines. Give it a quick 1-to-1 crop. And you kind of get a feel with each camera what 2000 pixels is. So again, I would make this look a little better, probably play around with it a little bit more. But that's, again, this is definitely a photo that I would post. I wanted to show you the dynamic range. So this bird, I'm going to reset this one because I edited this one. I wasn't sure what bird this is, and there are a lot of different answers on one of the Facebook groups I post to. They think it's juvenile phoebe. I think that's the prevailing thought, but you can see that this bird is pretty much in deep shadow and just looked black and white to me. And then you can see with the edited, the dynamic range, pretty good actually. I'm really impressed with the dynamic range. So this is at ISO 400, or again at 800 millimeters, 1/800th of a second, and this is we believe a juvenile eastern phoebe. And so yeah, this guy got really close, so you can see the detail and the feathers, and you can kind of see, because I raised the shadows, there's a little bit of probably noise reduction that would be needed. And I would do the noise reduction here in Lightroom for that. And then I came across this red-winged blackbird singing away, just a really pretty bird. Again, focus here was good. It caught focus on the eye, every single shot for this. So again, I think a lot of what I was seeing was probably more just shake, and probably just need to up that shutter speed. But again, this would be a shot that I would edit, and I would most likely post this. I'm pretty happy with these shots. And the mimosa trees are in bloom here. I just think it's a beautiful flower that it has here. And so you can see these are edited. I actually did post this one online. looking at the details again, the color, the clarity, the crispness, everything looks really good. No issues with the quality of the images coming in from this camera. And then I saw this green heron again, and most of these shots are in focus and look good. Again, the exposure is kind of tricky. The sun was in and out of the clouds, but that's one that I probably will edit and post online. If you don't follow me, there's a link to my Facebook down there, the Photo Gear Fun. I post there almost daily. Saw this hawk, and this grackle was harassing this hawk. Actually, there were 3 of them that were harassing this hawk, and you can see this hawk is in deep shadow too. And there's the grackle. Really pretty bird. It looks plain unless it's the sunlight hits it just so, but pretty bird. Focus looks good. Again, all the details look pretty good, and I'm really impressed with this 200-800 and the R50. I saw this red-headed woodpecker bringing, I think, a cricket or some sort of bug into the nest. I've been watching this one for a while at Lake Betz. It's definitely nesting there, and you can see here's a little better light on this one. But he's got a nest in there, and he's bringing some food to the nest, which is pretty cool to see. And there's a bunch of red-headed woodpeckers at Lake Betz. Here's another turtle. You can see there are a couple of them there. And then on my way out, I saw a northern flicker. I was just about to finish up. I saw this beautiful northern flicker. And again, just to give you an idea, so this guy was really far away. This is at 800 millimeters. I maybe wouldn't normally take this shot, but I felt like I needed to have some shots that were at 800 millimeters and the subject really far away. 800 millimeters for the subject close, it's not bad because there's not a lot of heat distortion, but you can definitely see the heat distortion in a lot of shots, especially with this lens. So that's one thing to kind of understand. If you have a 200-800 lens, you can get close, you can bring things closer, but there's so much atmosphere that it doesn't necessarily look as good as getting something that fills the frame like those turtle shots did at 800. So that's something you might want to keep in mind if you get this combination. And then on the way out, I saw another red-headed woodpecker. Again, the woodpecker was way out there. And then as I was actually getting ready to go to the car, I saw this beautiful goldfinch. So this is ISO 2500. Really doesn't look bad at all. Even we go to 300%. Yes, you can see some grain, but this will clean up nicely with a quick AI denoise here in Lightroom. So that's what I wanted to show you. Let's get back out into the field. Well, that's going to do it from Lake Betz. It was not a terribly eventful morning, but still got some shots. We'll go back into the studio, or we've been back into the studio. Let me know how you think this EOS R50 did with this 200-800 lens. Leave a comment down below. If you like this video, please consider giving it a thumbs up or give it a thumbs up. If you like these types of videos, please consider subscribing. I'm sure there'll be more content with this R50, also this 200-800. I've got to review it with my Canon R5. Get out there and have your photo gear fun. I will talk at you again in the next video. Thanks so much for watching.